everyone! I am finally here for my favourite products of 2023. I might have just scraped this in before the end of the year. It's a bit late, but I have spent the morning looking through my products and finding the products that stand out to me as being my top products of the year. I'm going to be talking about beauty products, couple hair products, skincare products, fragrance, nail products. So beauty in general. Now, not all these products are new to me this year. In past years, there's been times where I've just like, what has only been new to me this year, and that's what I've reflected on. But this is just the stuff that stands out as, when I look back at the year, what do I think of as being 2023? In a nutshell, this is sort of my recommendations from the year, and these are all things that I have been constantly going back to. Some of them I had to go rummage in multiple handbags to find them because I take them with me. That's how much I love them. So let's start with makeup. Let's get that out of the way. I'm going to sort of talk about these in order of application roughly. So I'm not a big primer person. Primers have never been something I've really enjoyed, but this year I have had such a battle with my skin. I think it's actually post-pregnancy related. So after I had my second baby, it's sort of like my skin in winter just became so dehydrated to the point that I have those like little like wrinkles. So they're not wrinkles, it's like that scaly sort of texture. So when you like move your skin, you can see those really micro lines. And I was like, oh my God, what has happened? Like have I just aged like 5 years in a month? And it was simply dehydration. Now I battled with that all of winter, and essentially it was sort of like late April, which is autumn, mid-autumn for us, through to maybe September, which is the start of spring. That whole time I struggled with my bases. So the problem is that I've got oily skin, which meant that if I didn't powder my skin or I didn't have a base that set down, it would sort of slide off throughout the day. But at the same time, if I had something that was too matte, too setting, too sort of dry looking, it'd actually dust off my face. So by the end of the day, I would find there's like dusting off patches because my face was dehydrated in the areas that were sort of too dry. Anyway, I just couldn't get a good balance and everything looked bad. So this year I don't have many base products, as in like foundation products, because I struggled all year round with them. But what I did find was this primer. So this is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I've had this in my collection for a while. I'm actually panning it at the moment. This made a huge difference to my skin because I found that when I did apply this, if I did put something that was a little bit more matte over the top, so a base that set down, the combination of the hydration and the matte sort of ticked both boxes in a sense that it would not slide off my face with oil, but it would also not flake off my face with dryness. So I became a big fan of this. The texture is also really lovely. It's very rich and very like luxurious, but not greasy. So it is quite thick. So it's quite a thick product. It's sort of like putting an extra layer of just a really rich moisturizer on. And it just like cushions the skin in a really beautiful way, hydrates it, but like primes the skin really beautifully for foundation. So I really loved this. And I also feel like it pairs really well with the next product I want to talk about, which is probably, dare I say, my all-time favorite product of the year. Dun, dun, dun. I actually haven't reviewed this. I am kicking myself. I did a first impressions and I didn't like the footage for some reason and I decided to scrap it. So in my head, I'm like, I've reviewed this. I've reviewed this. I have not reviewed it. So Kat, tomorrow when you've got a morning off, please film a wear test of this because it is my favorite product of the year. It is by Natasha Denona and it is the Hy-Glam Concealer. My shade is N4. I struggle finding a color match a lot of the time because I have sort of technically quite light olive skin. So if you probably can't see, but it's quite light olive toned. And I have a bit of pinkness coming through from just sensitivity and whatnot. So I actually find that if I go something too warm, it actually looks too, like oxidizes and looks too yellow on me. But if I go something too pink, it actually looks like I've got a pink face that's disconnected from my body. So I have to go neutral, but often the tone is just a little bit weird. This tone is perfect. Like you put it on and it's amazing. But what I love about this, I'm wearing this on my face today. So I'm wearing it all over. Not only is it a great concealer, under eyes, spots, face, wherever you want to put it. I feel like it sets down, but it's hydrating enough that it's like creamy and very blendable. So you can put it under your eyes without it sort of creasing too much and feeling too sort of heavy and cakey. And also it just blends seamlessly as a foundation. What I also like about it is that you can tweak it. So for example, if you do have dry skin, put on a really nice hydrating base, dot this on. I just take one wand application. So it's got a nice pointed wand. I literally put some on my eyes, some around my nose, on my chin, and then I just go dot, 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 dot. And then I'd get like a kabuki style brush and I just blend it in. If you've got dry skin, I would put it over a base like this because it does blend really nicely over it. And then I'll probably not set it. You want that sort of dewy, sort of plump feel, and it will be great for you. But then of course, if you do have oilier skin, you can apply it on its own, of course, powder it. Now, what I tend to do is put a hydrating base, this, and then I powder it because I can get a bit of creasing, I can get a bit of moving from my oily skin, but I just find this is so versatile and it gives a really beautiful effect. A lot of concealers that I've used, because I try to pan concealers by using them as a foundation, and I find that what tends to happen is they don't sort of spread very well. A lot of concealers are designed to sort of like be dabbed in, but if you try to buff it in, it sort of separates or looks streaky or like skips on pores. This one just blends like butter. It's beautiful, and I stand by this. If I use up all my foundations, I would just keep buying this as my concealer foundation in one. I've had a few people say that's a very expensive thing to do. I don't actually think so, because this gives you the effect of something like Armani Luminous Silk. And I know because I've tried it, and it's not in my favorites. I have a bottle, it's not in my favorites. This is in my favorites. So it gives you that effect, but you also need to use the smallest amount. So literally one wand's worth will do a whole face. So I think this would still last you if you use it as a concealer and a base. It will last you months and months and months. And I can just see myself when there's a Sephora sale, like 20% off, buying like 4 of these and just using them all year. And then you can even tweak the colors. Like I've seen Natasha Denona use it as like a contour or bronzer. So if you like this sort of sculpting thing, you can even get different shades, and there's color correctors in the range as well. I just love this. I'm obsessed with this. I had to like pull this out of my handbag, and I'm trying to pan so many other base products just so I can keep coming back to this. So this, I love, my favorite product of the year, hands down. I haven't reviewed it, and I will. I'll make sure, I'll make it a priority. It'll be up very soon because you need to see how this works because it's amazing. Now I've got a few powders to talk about. I've got a love-hate relationship with powders simply because with my skin, especially in winter, if it's too mattifying and too drying, I just look like a desert. I literally look like I've got like scaly skin. So what I've been appreciating more is a powder that sets my base without it making it look dry and sort of creasy and like ugh. So the two that I like the most, the two that I've been going back to, I think I talked about this last year. It's the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. I love it. It is like, this is in the shade Light, I think the sticker, yeah, no, the shade Light. It comes in different shades. I don't have much left, as you can see. But this is a really nice, loose setting powder, but it's got a little bit of shimmer in it. So it gives you a bit of it gives you a setting effect, but it adds a little bit of glow to your skin so it doesn't look really dry. And I find that this doesn't feel really dry as well if you put a small amount on. So this one is my budget buy. I love it. And as soon as I use it up, I'm gonna buy like 3 more. The other one I really love this year is by Sigma. So this is the Soft Focus Setting Powder in Vanilla Bean. This is one, again, I could use all year round, and I found that it worked really, really nicely. It didn't emphasize any nastiness, and I really appreciate it. So it's got a bit of color to it, so you do get different shades. Again, mine's Vanilla Bean. I've been using this a lot. I've had a few people sort of recommend things like the Nakia Joy one. That one in the like depths of winter made me look too dry. This one didn't. So for some reason, these are just really great setting powders that just don't make you look really like the life's sucked out of your face. So these two I've been loving. Another one that I sort of want to give honorable mention to, I suppose, is by Laura Geller. Now, I did talk about the Baked Balance and Brighten powder, I think it is. I used that up recently in my project pan. That one was the sort of natural finish one. So it's essentially like a mineral powder foundation. It's beautiful. It's like you've just used a filter. You still look like you're very natural, but it just puts a bit of like a filter over your face. It's beautiful. Now that one I had problems with because it was marbled, and as I was wearing it down, it was wearing the colors down at different rates, and it ended up being just too dark for me and too orange tone. So that one I'm not going to repurchase. I struggle with, but this one is still really beautiful, and I keep coming back to. This is the Baked Balance and Glow Illuminating Foundation in the shade Fair. Now this one is marbled, but it's not as like the other one had much bigger veining. Now what I love about this is if you have sort of skin like mine where you have a bit of oiliness and you like a powder, but you also want a bit of luminosity that makes it look like you've got a glow, but it's not like a greasy glow, this powder is divine. I might actually zoom in and show you swatching it. So when you do apply this, hopefully you can see, I'll try to build it up a little bit. It adds a little bit of a natural glow. So you can see it just adds a tiny bit of glow. Now this can be used as just your powder foundation, but it does look very glowy. So it's not going to be for the faint-hearted. But what I like using this for is just sort of sometimes almost like a Hourglass ambient lighting powder with a tiny bit of coverage. So if you want a bit of sheen, which I've got a bit anyway, but if you put a bit of sheen, like you want a bit of sheen on here, you just put a bit of the powder, and it gives you the most gorgeous sort of glow. I know it's hard to see because I've already done my makeup, but it just gives you this beautiful effect where it adds a little bit of coverage, a little bit of sort of blurry perfecting nature, and a little bit of glow. So I think it's a really beautiful, if you want to add that shine in without it being too intense, I really like this. So yeah, it's more glowy than the Halo Glow setting powder. So if you're wondering which one is more glowy, this one's more glowy. And this is probably better for setting. This is probably better for finishing or on its own. Yeah. Now let's get on to cheeks. Now, blush has been a big part of a lot of people's year because blush is totally in. And I am loving blush. I'm not loving the blushes that everyone loving, but I really feel a lot about the blushes that I love. So if I could list my MAC Stereo Rose Mineralized Skin Finish as my favorite blush, this would totally be it. I panned it earlier this year and I miss the heck out of it. So it's been my mission to dupe it. This is what it looks like. It's sort of like a corally pink and it gives this beautiful sort of glow. It's got a bit of color to it. So it gives a bit of color to the cheeks, but it's not a really heavy base color. It's mainly a color in the glow. So I love, love, love this. And it's not a big surprise that my two favorite blushes of the year are actually products that I found as being the closest dupes. So I've got the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Highlighting Blush in Pink Glow. This one is probably the most affordable dupe I found. I think it's gorgeous, really pretty, similar color and very similar finish. I've got this on my cheeks today. So again, I'll put a little bit more on, but so you can see, but it gives that highlighter blush sort of combo effect. So I've got no other blush. I've got no other highlighter. It's just this. It's an easy sort of all-in-one product, which gives you that glow, but it also gives you a little bit of color on the cheeks so you don't look too sort of dead like I often do. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I use it on my nose. I just think it's stunning, and it is a very similar sort of color. So that's the original, and then this is the Bare Minerals one, so very similar effect. For something a little bit more bougie, the Bobbi Brown. This is a highlighting powder in Sunset Glow. This is gorgeous. It's very glowy, very pretty, does the same thing. This is just a little bit of a firmer product, so I feel like you sort of have to scrub your brush in it a little bit more, but it's stunning, and I'll swatch that again. So MAC, Bare Minerals, and Bobbi Brown. So again, very similar. This is a little bit warmer, that's a little bit cooler, but they all give that sort of blushy highlighter, easy sort of glowy effect, which I have been loving. So this has definitely been my favorite sort of blush texture, simply because it's so easy and it's sort of like a two-in-one product, but it also adds this sort of healthy effect to your skin without it being too much, and it works on oilier skin. So I just love it. I think it's been such a game changer where it's made my skin look really glowy and a lot more like vibrant on days where I've been struggling. So I love it. These are great, and I miss this. Bring it back, Mac. The one exception to that, I want to give a shout out to the Kaleidos. This is the Mono Blush in Pearl Bliss. Now this, look, my kid has been in it. It's got like some scratch marks. You can tell it's been on my desk since he's been able to access it. I love this as sort of like a bronze contour shade. Now for me, especially in winter, I've got quite fair skin, and most bronzers look very dirty and even orangey, or if they're too contour like, they look too like grey, whereas this one is like the most beautiful pinky contour bronze product. So it's sort of like a bronzer contour blush in one, and I just think if you've got very light skin and you're looking for something that's a little bit pink tone but not too blushy, this product is very, very lovely, and it's very light. I would like to see them bring out like a slightly darker one, but it is just a really lovely sort of shadow for someone that wants a little bit of definition without it being too, again, muddy or sort of grey toned. This one is, yeah, I don't use it heaps because I don't tend to contour much, but when I do, this is what I've been reaching for. Now, I don't have any brow products, eyeliners, mascaras of note, eyeshadow primers, none of that. So we'll just jump to eyeshadows. Now for me, eyeshadows, I generally go for something pretty nude and pretty easy and basic. But the ones that stand out as being things that I've really appreciated this year are sort of twist on basic. So things that I can incorporate into my daily life without it looking too much, but also something that's a little bit fun. So the palette that I probably love the most would be the Glaminatrix Cosmetics. This is the Rich Romantic. They brought out a couple of palettes this year, and this is definitely the one I reach for the most. So I am wearing this palette on my eye today. I've got it as the purple base, and I've got a topper that I'll talk about again next. And then I've got this beautiful sort of coral matte and then this shiny orange. And that's all from this palette. So this palette I've been loving because it is sort of like a twist on something that I can wear every day, but it's a little bit special. So this is what I'm wearing on my top lid. This is what I'm wearing on the lower lash line. And then I've added this color, which does have this beautiful sort of orange shift. You can see it there. It works beautifully with that, just to add that. Do you see that? It's gorgeous. It's just this pop of beautifulness. So I love this palette because it's very wearable. It's got some really fun shimmers and textures in there and some fun sort of color shifts. But you can definitely incorporate this into a really basic look, and it's just adds a little bit of something fun and special. Admittedly, I still use their Nearly Natural palette all the time, but this, if I want to add a little bit of fun color, this is what I go for. And I love adding a bit of purple into the crease. I love adding that pop of coral. I just think it's a really fun color story and really, really easy to incorporate into just daily looks. What I actually have on the top dotted on is a shadow from the Kaleidos Quad in Venus Trap. Now this is not a surprise. I've talked about this eyeshadow a few times and I'm gonna keep talking about it because I think it's gorgeous. So again, if you see that twinkly effect on the top lid, that is an eyeshadow from here. So it is this silvery shade there. It is chunky glitter with a pretty much a translucent base. Now, I've heard a few people compare it to the Fenty Diamond Bomb highlighter in How Many Carats. I did do a video on that. I'll link it in the description box. It is not a dupe. This is a lot more twinkly and sparkly. Same goes for Urban Decay Space Cowboy eyeshadow. It's nowhere near as sort of chunky and glittery as this. Some people won't like this. I think it is stunning. These are pretty bland. I don't tend to really care about these. I tend to pair it. I like to pair that with this shade in the crease, but I mainly use this just on its own. I feel like it gives such a beautiful twinkle. It's a lot more intense than Space Cowboy from Urban Decay. So if you want something a little bit more sparkly, this is what you'd go for. And if you do build it up, it looks like a silver sort of metallic effect. So that's it dispersed. But if you had like a glitter glue or something, you can make it a lot more sparkly and silver. I prefer it like this, but I just find it so gorgeous. And whenever I use it, I get a lot of compliments. Yes, you have to sort of be careful with fallout. So I sort of tapped on with my finger. But it is stunning. And yeah, I just wanted to demonstrate it over a darker color today, but yeah, usually I just use it on its own. I think it is so pretty. Another honorable mention, and again, this is something I had to pull out of handbags because this is something that I use fairly frequently. These are the Dazzle Sticks by Kat Von D. Now, I bought these because they were 40% off and they looked really pretty, but I've got a shade that's sort of more of a nude shade. You can see I use it quite a lot. You can sort of just apply this on the lid and blend it out. I find that it's often better to get your brush and pick it up because they're very, very soft and they can sort of get a bit smudgy. But the light shade is Hail Surge, which is really pretty. And then the darker shade I have, which is more of this sort of, it's sort of like a taupey purple shade. It is called Flash Storm. So these are very soft. You have to be quite careful with them because they can smush, but you do get a really beautiful shiny effect from them. And this darker one is a bit more of a statement color. You can see how it does have a darker base and it's more of a smoky sort of shimmer. It's a very pretty. And these last really, really well. So once they're on, they don't budge and they're gorgeous. This also has a bit of a blue shimmer in it. It's very, very pretty. All right, when it comes to lip products, this should be no surprise that this year for me has been all about panning two of my MAC lipsticks. Now, these are two of my most favorite MAC lipsticks. I have backups. I just wanted to use them up this year because they're getting old and I have fresh ones. But I do have Velvet Teddy, which is what I'm wearing. And I'm going to tell you, I've been digging into this. So I've finished this. I love it. It is an old product. I think this is my third tube. I've got another one, a fourth tube. But this year, I've just been happy reaching for this. Yes, I've tried new lip products, but when I just think of what I wear on a daily basis, and like, okay, yes, I've been forcing myself to wear them because of my Project Pan, but I've been really enjoying them. So the nude is definitely Velvet Teddy. I love you. And then I get so many compliments on this red. I've nearly finished it. I'm not quite there. But I even found that I was going to a Christmas party and I thought I'll wear a different red just for fun. And throughout the day and night, I was like, well, this is wearing off and I don't really like it. And I just went back to my Lady Danger by MAC and decided, no, this is a lot more sort of tried and true. It wears down really beautifully. It looks really vibrant. And I just switched to this. And whenever I wear this, people are like, what's on your lips? It's this. It's this. I've been wearing this all the time because I'm trying to pan it, but it is definitely one of my all-time favorite reds. This has been the year of Velvet Teddy and Lady Danger, and I don't hate it. I'm not sick of them. I love them. So I just have to give them props, even though I've tried other things. I'm like, that's just what I keep coming back to. All right, let's run through skincare products really quickly. One product that I got it was earlier in November, but I really enjoy it, is my Elemis cleanser. This is the Pro Collagen Energizing Marine Cleanser. This is pretty pricey, but it's very, very nice. It smells beautiful. Where's the thing? It's almost got this sort of like fresh aquatic, I don't know, fruity berry scent to it. I love it. But what I love about it is it's like a nice light foam that just washes things away really well. I usually use a cleansing oil or cleansing balm before I wash my face. But even if I don't, this cleanses things pretty well. So I just think it's very effective. It doesn't leave my skin feeling dry or over sort of stripped. It's just a really pleasant experience. So I really have been enjoying this. If you do want to buy it, like always look for a sale, and they usually have like gifts with purchase. So I wouldn't buy this full price, but I love it. My favorite sunscreen by far is my Mecca Cosmetica To Save Face SPF. It's beautiful. It's luxurious. It's thicker, but not too thick. It's not greasy. It sits beautifully under makeup. It almost works as a bit of a hydrating primer. I love it. This is, I think, my second tube of the year. I've also used their drop, like their serum version. I really enjoyed that as well. The packaging wasn't my favorite, so I wouldn't repurchase it, but this is something I keep coming back to. I even bought this for people for Christmas in gift packs because that's how much I love it. Spreading the word, love it. There are other sunscreens I've been using. I might do a whole video about SPF that I really enjoy because it's summer and it's time for SPF, but this is by far my favorite, so that is not going to change. Probably the skincare item that I've incorporated this year that has made a big difference in terms of hydration. Like I've been doing a whole bunch of things, different hyaluronic acids, different sprays, different toners, whatever. But the Estée Lauder, this is the Advanced Night Repair. I love this. I have used the original one before they reformulated it years ago, and I was like, it's okay. But now with my skin, sometimes I even use this during the day. I've heard that it's good to mix with your foundation if it's too sort of matte. This is something that just makes my skin quite nice and plump and like cushioned. in the morning after I use it. So it's something that I swear by. A retinol that I've been enjoying this year, and I've nearly finished this actually, and I've got the next one to use. This is the Medicate Intelligent Retinol 6TR. Now this is a retinol oil. You only use like 4 drops, you pat it on. It's very nice. So if you do have dry skin, this is probably a good one. There's also like a cream tube one, so if you have sort of more oily skin, you might want to try that one, but I like a face oil at night. This is a good way to use retinol. I don't find it irritating. I do have the level up, so this comes in different levels. This one's the 6 TR, so it's 0.6%. The next one I have is the 10 TR, which is 1%, and the whole plan is that you sort of have, I think you can start at 3, go to 6, go to 10, and you can sort of work your way up using retinol, and it's a nice gentle way because it's in oil, so it doesn't feel too sort of drying on the skin. I'm down to here with it, so I'm nearly ready to go up to my 10 TR, but I've been really enjoying it, so that's a really nice retinol. My favorite by far body product, and I've talked about this many times, is my Do It Foot and Heel Balm Plus. I love this. It's like a gel foot cream that dries down to almost like a powdery finish. So I just hate it when you put a foot cream on and then you're leaving that like balmy residue all over the floor. This one is great. It doesn't get on your sheets. I love it. I've used multiple tubes. I love the hand cream. I like the body cream. I love the lip balm. I think this brand is great, but the foot cream is foot balm is my favorite by far. I want to give an honorable mention because I only got this recently, but I'm really impressed by it. It is my Naked Sundays Hydrating Glow Top-Up Spray SPF 50. I have struggled. I wear sunscreen every day religiously, but I never reapply because it's so hard to reapply sunscreen over makeup. This has made things so much easier. It's a very fine mist. Like, look at this. You can barely feel it. It's just like little tiny droplets in the air, and you spray it on and it like refreshes your SPF. I think this is such a good idea. I've been avoiding these products in the past because I've always thought they're going to be too greasy, but this one isn't. It's beautiful. It is quite heavily scented, so if you don't like a strong scent, you probably won't like it, but in terms of practicality, this is game changer for me in summer. I'm still tempted to buy a backup bottle, but I will use this first. I can wait, but I am so impressed by this. So I haven't used it for very long, but it has impressed me. So it's an honorable mention. This year I've been loving fragrances, and some that I want to mention really quickly. I love Juliette Has a Gun, Not a Perfume. It's a bit of a powdery, almost like not their perfume. That's probably why it's called Not a Perfume. But it just smells like clean skin. I love it. I had a little sample and I bought the full bottle because I love it so much. It's one that I often use. I also discovered the Lux Moonlit. This is a perfume oil. It's got lavender and it's got something else in it. What is it? I'll have the notes on the screen because I don't know what they are, but this essentially settles down to me to smell a little bit like licorice, and I love it. It doesn't last super long, but it's a nice one to have in your handbag. And if you love black licorice, this is one for you. I do, so I love it. But again, it's just sort of a nice roll-on perfume oil. And if you're scared of lavender, because it does have lavender scent in it, that sort of fades down and it's sort of a background smell. My most recent perfume purchase is this one. I haven't spoken about it because I only picked it up the other week, but I got it on recommendation from my friend Madeline. Hello, Madeline. This is Coriander by DS and Durga. Now you may be thinking, yuck, coriander. Firstly, I like coriander, but it doesn't smell like coriander. So I've seen this in store and never bothered smelling it because I'm like, this is not going to be a scent for me, but it doesn't smell like coriander. It smells gorgeous. To me, it smells almost like a mojito or something. There's something very sort of fresh, and it's like a bit of citrus, but it smells a bit green, but really nice and fresh and summery. This is an example of a fragrance that the notes don't, in my opinion, represent what it smells like, because I'll have the notes on the screen, and to me it's just fresh sort of citrus drink. Citrus is not the main scent, so probably a little bit more green, and it just smells like a cocktail. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. So that one I love, love, love. Again, it's more of a newer one for me, so it's a bit of an honorable mention, but it's just such a beautiful scent. I love it. My favorite hair products of the year. I've been using quite a lot of hair products, but the things that probably impressed me the most, firstly, I've come back to my Husk This is the Kalahari Melon Oil. It is discontinued, but you can buy them in bulk on Amazon, which is what I've done. So I use it all the time. I love it. It's such a nice hair oil. It sort of minimizes sort of frizz. I run it through my hair. It just makes my hair nice and sort of soft and sort of not too frizzy, but it doesn't weigh down my hair too much. But I also have been loving these. Now, ever since buying these, I don't use anything else in my hair. These are from Gina, and they're like silk sort of scrunchies. So I've got one in my hair at the moment. So they have these sort of smaller ones, and they've got these bigger ones, and they're just so nice and comfortable. And this is all I've been wearing in my hair. So you don't get those kinks. It doesn't pull your hair. It's nice and soft. So these just have not left my hair ever since buying them. And that means that like for the past sort of 2 months, I've been wearing these sort of nonstop, which is good. There you go. I love them, and they come in more shades, and I'm tempted to buy more because I think they're fantastic. I want to quickly talk about nail polishes. Like the nail polish I'm wearing is one of my favorites. I placed a few orders from Orly this year, and I have been loving some of the shades, and I often get compliments and people wanting to know what nail polishes I'm wearing. So these are probably my top 3 shades from Orly. I have a really nice chartreuse as well, but I don't wear as much as these. This one is what I'm currently wearing. It's called Plastic Jungle, and it's like the most amazing green. It's like almost like a neon emerald green. So it's not too yellow, it's quite blue, but it is bright and vibrant and fun. I also love Blazing Sunset. It's like a neon red. I do have also an orange version of this, and it's very dry and flaky, and it just doesn't wear very well, but this neon red wears beautifully, and it just goes with everything. So fun. And then this is my favorite purple. It is Synthetic Symphony. And again, whenever I wear this, people are like, what are you wearing? It's nice and bright, but it's also, I find that purple with nail polish, you either go pastel, pinky, or very, very vampy and dark. Whereas this is sort of like bright, but not none of those directions. It's just a bam purple. And I love it. Whenever I wear this, people are like, what are you wearing? And it's this. Another one that I've been loving, I've got this on my toes at the moment. This is not by Orly, but it's by Cirque Colors. This was recommended by a subscriber, and it's in this shade Sky High. Now, this is a beautiful blue. I find blues like this one, they're very common. These are just sort of like your cobalty blues. But to find something that's more cyan or something, I don't know, it's like vibrant, like plastic blue. I love it. It's my favorite blue of the year. Blue's my favorite color. It's a nail polish color I have the most of. So the fact that this is stood out as being beautiful, I love it. And then my non-colored nail polish sort of favorite of the year is probably also by Orly. This is the Bonder. So it's a rubberized base coat. I find that it just makes things wear quite well. I've been wearing it quite a bit. And I just find that it does really a good job at holding the nail polish on. I also have the second quick dry top coat. That's quite nice as well. So it adds a nice shine and dries pretty quickly. So Orly has been the dominant nail polish that I've been loving this year and wearing this year. And this is, oh, I love it. It's beautiful. One quick honorable mention that I want to talk about, and this is sort of a miscellaneous product. I got this recently and I've just been using it and playing with it, and I'm really impressed, but there are limitations to it, but I think it's definitely worth a quick mention. This is a brush cleaner by the Melbourne-based brand St. Jack. I think it was a makeup artist who created this during lockdown, I think. But this is a very good brush cleaner. It's a spot cleaner. It's excellent. It disinfects. It does really great things. I'm going to do a full video about this in the new year, and I'm going to tell you from my experience when I think it is best to use it and when I think it's best to actually deep clean your brushes. But this is a very, very, very effective brush cleaner. So I'm going to give this a quick shout out and a hint at something that is going to be coming in the new year. So those are my favorites of 2023. And I will have all the products listed in the description box below if you missed them. I'd love to know what your top products of 2023 were. They don't have to be new products. They don't have to be new releases. Just when you look back at 2023, what are the products we go, okay, that sums up for me the makeup that I loved that year and the style of makeup that I really enjoyed, because I feel like that is probably a bit more authentic, but I'd love to know. So thank you so much for all your support this year. Thank you to my members for being extra special, and I will see you all in the new year. Happy New Year. Bye. Talking to the microphone? What do you say? What do you say?